Okay. So, if you keep up on my blog, you can keep up with what's going on. And I got an email this morning that I didn't post because it was so stupid, but it was. I know that this do stuff is wearing you down, and that's why you haven't posted. But it was all this weird, bizarre. It was them. And I just want to make it quite clear. That is not the reason why I haven't been doing videos. Wednesday, I went to go, no, it was Thursday. I went to go do a live, but, and I got everything ready, but then realized that I just don't know what to say anymore. I just don't know what to say. And from where I stand and where I sit, this is all the last hurrah because we're at the end. I say this, I want to get into some of the stuff, but I say this with certainty because, hey, right now, the core of the planet has stopped rotating. They know that now. They know that. And the North Pole, the poles are getting ready to switch. So we have no magnetic field protecting us from all of the solar flares that are happening and the CMEs that are happening with the sun. But now, not only are the poles are shifting, getting ready to flip, which they've done like what 180 times before in the past, but the North Pole is now moving horizontally. So they're just not getting ready to flip, but the North Pole itself is moving towards Russia. And most importantly, there is a supervolcano in Italy, and that whole area has had earthquakes. And I mean, the volcano that happened, what, in the Netherlands, Finland? I don't remember exactly where that volcano was, but they've been having that whole area geographically, northern hemisphere, has been having issues. And what separates a supervolcano from all the other volcanoes is that when a supervolcano explodes, it's an extinction level event. And now Italy's supervolcano is starting to wake up. So when I say that death is coming, I'm not just being cryptic. Oh, the wind told me. You know, obviously these changes are going to have some weird sort of effect. Not to mention that the earth is tilting in a different position now. And so there's just so much stuff going down. What is going to happen? What we're experiencing is biblical. And people can say whatever they want to say about whatever they want to say, but the rich now are jumping around because they feel like they have everything under control. They own everything and everyone. And it's all about power and want because none of them have enough. None of them have enough. And just like it was written, in the end, this is how it would be. Just like it was written. Funny how it kind of matches up. And that's what's getting ready to happen. And I haven't known what to say with this whole election. For me, you have to understand, shamanically, because I practice shamanic practices, or at least I go inside of myself and explore inside through the help of a rhythmic drum that helps trick my brain into thinking that my waking brain is asleep. That's basically what shamanism does. And throughout the years, I have not. My argument is that mankind was better than what heaven believed. Because heaven believes that heaven is just, or heaven believes that mankind is just screwed, full of want and anger. And what I came away with this election and what's getting ready to happen is that people are okay with misery and evil happening to others as long as it suits their agenda. And so evil is okay when it suits their agenda. The problem with that is that whole judge not lest thee be judged by the same judgment you hand down. And if it's okay, if evil is okay for others, then it's okay for you. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. And it has been disheartening. And I don't feel bad about pointing all of this out because they said that Trump was on record saying he didn't know anything about Project 2025, didn't know anything about it, didn't want to know anything about it. He's all on video with that. And yet, within this reality television cabinet that he has put together, full of questionable people, the architects of Project 2025 are there. So obviously that was just yet another lie, because obviously I don't think it's a mistake, you know? So chances are he knew about 2025. 2025 it's how it begins. That's what people don't understand. When you subjugate a few, that's how it begins, to be able to subjugate everybody. And they really do think that they have it all down. They have it all under control. They're in power. They can't wait. And heaven is about ready to burn things up. If a volcano goes off and something happens and another volcano goes off, considering how many states are under a severe fire warning, we're going to burn. You know, that just makes sense. And if that super volcano in Italy goes off, releasing all of that pressure, considering that the plates around the whole planet are already starting to shift, what's not to say that it will release the pressure for another supervolcano like Yellowstone to go off as well? That's what I'm saying. All of this is spiritual. All of it, fill your hearts with love. Fill your hearts with love. Because if you don't, you're going to get claimed by the dark. Matt Gaetz is just... A lot of the child trafficking goes on in Florida. Always has. And so the fact that, what are they hiding? And Matt Gaetz is not the biggest issue for me. My biggest issue is Marjorie Taylor Greene and what she said. about all of them having secrets and taxpayer money paying off victims and the whole Jeffrey Epstein bullshit, which deals with her party, the Republicans. She's not threatening Democrats. She was threatening Republicans with all of this stuff. So obviously there's stuff there, which I've told people. All of the cat is out of the bag. Those secrets are out. You know, they're out. And that's the reason why I didn't know what to say. Because I was really down about everything. Because when it comes to their due bullshit, they're doing me a favor by bringing me down because I'm not so sure I want to be here when all the shit really goes down. So basically they're doing me a favor, microwaving me to death. They think they're, ah ha ha, but, and it's like anything else. Yes, they're blasting the shit out of me even now, but what difference does it make? Nothing, it'll never be exposed. They dance around like orangutans thinking that they have won. And it's all about child trafficking. And these idiots, especially Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, who has been on top of me for years, just they dance around. They dance around despite the facts of the matter, despite everything. And for me, it's never been about this life. I've said that over and over and over. It was never about this life. I have never been about getting them investigated and arrested and tried in a courthouse and then jailed. It's never been that way for me. And why? Because there was too many kids when I was growing up. It wasn't just in Hummel Park. The shit that was going on in Alan Bear's house with all of those secret passages in that house and having to get all the way up to the attic. And there was so much bizarre, fucking nasty ass bullshit. When these idiots find themselves in the dark, they will realize that I am not shitting them or lying to them when I say everyone who finds themselves in the dark will spend an eternity experiencing every tear that was ever shed for all of this evil shit from the very beginning. That's why when I say that those who find themselves in the dark will cry oceans of tears, I'm not exaggerating. It's not an exaggeration at all. And I've really had to come to terms spiritually with all of this and realize that this is about ready to end. Not to mention the sun doing what it's doing. It hasn't even reached solar maximum yet. And when it's not like a switch that flips. As long as it took and as bad as it has gotten to get to this point, for it to go back to normal, it's going to take as much time as it did to build it, if not more. And God only knows when the magnetic field is going to be back up, because the North and South Pole, the North Pole is now moving, which means the South Pole will move. And so there's too much here. If you do not have love in your heart, you will not ascend the moment you take your last breath. And if you do not ascend, you are trapped in the dark. And the dark is the antithesis of love. There is no love in the dark, and there is no mercy. You know, is no mercy. And you don't want to find yourself Trump is not weeding anyone out. Anyone. And I know that's an unpopular statement, but personally, I think the Trump is the false prophet that we've all heard about. Got everyone to even put the little thing on their forehead. And Putin is in control of everything around the whole world. Even China subjugates themselves to Russia, to Putin. And so, and it leads people right into the dark, you know? When I was growing up, and even in the 80s with Franklin, it was all Republicans who were involved with it. It was all Republicans who were involved with Franklin, who were involved with Michael Aquino. Michael Aquino was hanging out with George Bush Sr., who was ex-head of the CIA as president, and Ronald Reagan and all of the Republicans, and they were all involved. That group was all involved with all of the child trafficking that was going on and all of the criminal stuff. That's the reason why Boys for Sale in Houston, talking about the how boys were being sold, underage boys, it was happening in Houston. That was also happening in Omaha, Nebraska, all Republican controlled, at a time that George Bush Sr. was involved. But Trump is not weeding any of them out. The Republican Party is involved. That's, you know, it isn't just Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let me just remind everybody about Madison Cawthorn. He came out and said that the Republicans were all having cocaine-fueled orgies. And they got rid of him, what, in a month and a half? His career was over. They got rid of him. You know, hit their golden boy because of what he said. And now Marjorie Taylor Greene is coming out. It is both sides. What we're experiencing is not a clash between Republicans and Democrats. What we are experiencing is a thing about a group that has a lot of money, that's controlled by money, and only is filled with want and power and control, and the rest of the people who don't have shit. That's what we're facing. And they've said Trump tapped into the anger and rage and hate of all these groups and amplified it. And that's, you know, no, it's not. I believe that Trump is part of God's plan, but not the way that everyone realizes. No, they're running the Nazi agenda. Straight out, they're running the Nazi agenda. They're straight out. They're running the stuff that they've done. This, you know, that whole, when he supposedly got shot in the ear, that cannot be true. It's not true. So he had shit in his hand to put on his ear before it ever fucking happened. And I can say that because cartilage doesn't repair itself normally. That's the reason why if you get those rings in your ear, then you have to go have an operation to have them cut it because cartilage doesn't repair itself. And there's no mark. There's no mark, there's no scar, there's no nothing. You know? The Nazi argument is not weak. We have Marxies, what, not marching in Ohio right now? You know, I am just saying what is all. You don't have to be a fucking doctor, dumbass, to know that. You know, and the Nazi argument is not weak. Camps are how it starts. But everyone is so, everyone is so focused on being okay. Oh my God. Well, I tell you what, dude, then go someplace else. I know that the Nazi thing is actually taking over because that's what I grew up with. And those people are still in control. And the child trafficking and all of that stuff is obviously not, regardless of whether or not Matt Gaetz got in or not, Trump and his group had to know about the allegations against Matt Gaetz. We all did. The stuff that's coming out is now worse than what we already knew, and it was already bad what we knew. And it was all okay. Now he has the Fox dude who is now he has the Fox dude who has been accused of rape, paid off the victim, and has a Nazi tattoo. But we're just supposed to ignore that and overlook that. That's the issue. Project 2025, and they are, it's to subjugate the people. And it's how it begins. Once it starts, it won't stop. But I don't really think they're going to get a chance. Because I think God is getting ready to basically screw mankind over in a way that there will be no. It's funny how all the shit that's coming from the sun, and now we're starting to, asteroids are starting to hit us that we're not even aware of until they're right there. And isn't it funny that all that shit is starting to happen? And now what are we focused on? Fucking aliens in the ocean. So instead of looking at the sky, which is actually where the threat is happening, now we're gonna fucking look at the oceans and believe that there's aliens in the ocean that they've known about for decades and lied to everybody, but now suddenly are telling everybody the truth. And so Matt is going to go down. He's going to be exposed. And once he gets it, Matt Gaetz and now Marjorie Taylor Greene. See, it never just is one thing. Not one thing leads to another thing to another thing. Now that Marjorie Taylor Greene has let the cat out of the bag, and I think that they did that thinking that she's an idiot and people will say she's an idiot, and so they'll just dismiss all of it because she's an idiot, but it hasn't worked that way thus far. And so therefore it's not going to stop. Everything is coming out into the light. He was exposed. And do you know I actually focused on Matt Gaetz spiritually because I just did not like him. In the dark, they will get exactly what they wanted. Eternal life. They'll never die. They'll never die. And they will be masters of everything they survey. Every single one of them will be masters of everything that they survey. They will be gods in their worlds. But when they find themselves in the dark, see, again, they have everyone focused on, oh, it's liberals. Oh, it's It's all a distraction. It's all a distraction. And they're all in on it. They're all in on it. You cannot tell me that the Democrats were not aware that there was no way, not only were we not going to vote in a woman, but a black woman. Are you kidding me? It was never going to happen. And they had to have known that it was never going to happen. It led us right to where we are now. But all of their shit is starting to come out. And there's no way to stop it. And more importantly, what heaven is letting all of them know is that heaven knows. And that's the important part. They're going to all end up in the damn dark. Because when you end up in the dark, if you take after you take your last breath, if you do not have the energy in your heart, in your soul that it takes to ascend to the gates of the new garden, you are trapped in this spiritual black hole. And when your soul finds itself in the dark, there'll be only one thing eventually that you will end up doing: going to sleep. Eventually, your soul will want to sleep. And the minute you sleep, that's when you'll never, don't worry. Once you fall into that sleep, you'll never be woke. Never. Never. And you won't have to worry about things like mercy and compassion and charity and all of that. Because in the dark, there'll be none. Zero. None. Won't have to worry about it. And everyone is equal in the dark. And you'll be masters of your own, because once you fall asleep, the dark is going to take over your dreams and influence you. And it will be your own demons that you live with for an eternity. You will do to yourselves what you were so willing and eager to have that group, hey guys, to have that group do to you, or what you were willing to have done to them. Sorry, I got distracted because people are coming in. I believe I do. That lady, I'll just call you Red. How's that? I've always believed that you need to wake people up, but unfortunately, I don't think there's time, and I don't think it's possible anymore. That's why I haven't been doing these, because I don't want to say that I'm Debbie Downer, but I'm somewhat of a realist. And I have other things that I could be doing other than beating my head against a brick wall. And I have done this for years. And now that I realize that the Dead Isaac Cappy Club and Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, were working hand in hand with that whole situation with Owen, I just am without words. The fact that when it finally dawned on me, because now there's just no even question who Andy is. There's no question. I've been here, done this, but that means when the Goblin Dad was sending me live videos, or he was posting live videos on YouTube of my town and then sending them to me in an email, and Captain Underpants posting that video on YouTube that showed he was in Harlan the whole time. They were working hand in hand with someone that I know was intimately involved in what happened to Lori King and probably her husband and why. And the fact that they're okay and just don't ever face any consequences on this side is just, I'm tired of trying to do something that obviously is never going to happen. Realizing that we're all about to take our last breath. Whether we want to face it or not, the shit that is happening with the earth. The volcano's gonna fucking go off. You wanna know why? Because the earth, if it heats up, has ways to actually cool itself off. And how does it cool itself off? It will blow a couple super volcanoes off and block the sun out for fucking a decade. You know? That's how it fucking works. That's how it works. And when that happens, it's all a spiritual. I have faith, but I have faith in heaven, and I also believe that we are at the end. People are so filled with want and greed, and good is now evil, and evil is now good. You know, if Jesus Christ came, he would soon be stuck in a camp. I don't agree with the liberals because I think that they have warped what is how it's supposed to be. But the right, this Christian right, serves the wrong God. And they're all going to be claimed by the dark because no servant is greater than their master. And they're all servants to the dark. And those who sit by and are accepting of it will be claimed by the dark. You just need to go read C.S. Lewis's The Last Battle. It's the least favorite book in that Chronicles of Narnia stuff. And it isn't even my most favorite, like I said, of C.S. Lewis, but it's good. If you want to know how you're being manipulated by television, because they call it programming for a reason, go check out Neil Postman. Neil Postman is amazing. He has a lot of good books. I don't know if he's still alive. They're older. They talked about the effect of what ends up happening. Shamanically, my faith, that's the only thing that's kept me going. But I will tell you with this directed energy weapon stuff, because I've been angry at heaven because I just don't understand why. Because these microwave frequency bullshit stuff that they said they had in 2006 when the U.S. Air Force went in front of Congress, said they had these weapons and were going to use them on the American population to show the rest of the world that they're safe. And now nobody knows about them. And the stuff that they cause has a lot to do with the Havana syndrome shit that they've now completely poo-pooed. Well, let me tell you, they're little fucking torture devices that are obviously portable and they can torture you in your own fucking home. And it's terrible shit. But you want to know the good thing, the blessing that it has given me, is that I know what it's like to live a life where you pray for a death that won't come. Because let me tell you, especially at night when it's really bad, I can't tell you how many times I have been out there, you know? Oh, Jesus. When I post this live video to my blog, I will also post the NBC News article that talks about the Air Force going in front of Congress and saying they have these weapons. And, you know, it's interesting. That's what I'm saying about Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's kind of like their village idiot. If there's something that they really want to distract from and hide, they give it to her because she comes out and talks about the shit and people think it's fucking stupid. Well, Jewish space lasers. Okay, well, they're not Jewish, but our own Department of Defense has come out and said we have that laser technology that's in space. You know, that's we have them coming out and saying that it is there and they have it. And so to say that it's not, but because they use, oh, it's Jewish space lasers, you throw the baby out with the fucking bathwater. And that's how it works. You throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's the reason why the shit that she just said, trying to get Gates confirmed, all of that stuff, that's what they want discredited. That's what they want discredited. That's the very thing you need to look at. And if what she said is true, it then goes and what she said actually kind of further proves what I'm saying. I believe that Bill Barr, when he raided all of Epstein's properties, gave Donald Trump all of that blackmail information. And all of that blackmail information was what was in that safe at Mar-a-Lago. Because if you remember right, when the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago, he was the most mad about his safe. He was mad. He didn't give a shit about the classified documents, but he was mad about what they took in that safe. And I believe that that's all of the Epstein shit. And the funny thing about the FBI getting all of that stuff is that all of that is in commission of a crime. And so if they raid your place for a reason, but they find stuff that is further indications of other crimes, it's legal for them to work on that. That's the same shit that's happening with Diddy right now. Same thing. They have got, I bet they have all, because Epstein and Diddy are not the only two that were out there. There's a lot of them. And they're catching these people because, like Madison Cawthorn said, they're having cocaine-fueled orgies. And funny enough, when you're on cocaine, I would assume it's like drugs in general. Your defenses and your thought processes aren't going full force. You know, you're not the most moral when you're coked up, I would assume. You know, you certainly aren't the most moral when you're methed up. And that's around here. You can tell that, you know? And so all of the secrets are coming out. But what difference does it make? If they come out, if they don't come out, there's not enough time. And even if there was time, there's no inclination. None. There's no inclination. These people were never going to face the consequences that they need to face on this side. That's what I'm saying about the dark. And I know what it's like to be pray for a death that doesn't come with their weapons. And what's important about that is that I end up, because of my shamanic stuff and what I'm able to do, it just gets channeled into the dark. And let me point out a couple things about the dark. First of all, there'll be no break. None. Not only will you not have only have eternal life, but you'll be conscious of every moment of that eternal life because you can't fall asleep in a dream. You can't fall asleep in a dream. So what you experience and what you will experience, you will do to yourselves, being influenced by the dark. There aren't enough people who are awake and want what's right. There's not. And you can pray for that all you want, but you might as well pray for fucking Skittles to fall out of the sky because it ain't going to happen. We're in the time of sorrows. We're in the time of sorrows. And the second coming, let me remind everyone, doesn't happen until the living are begging for death. That's the end. It's never been this bad before, and it will never be this bad again. But that's how it works, and there's no getting out of it. If you work on behalf of God, you realize that there's no getting out of it. We're supposed to be here to help people get through it. That's what we have to do, is help people get through it. That's the reason why I'm doing these videos, because we're all going to go through it. But we're called by heaven to support each other and try and help get as many through as we possibly can. Because in the end, it will be so bad that even the good will fall. We're being tested by fire. We're all going to be tested by fire. And that testing is, I assure you, is not going to be easy. It hasn't been easy. And for those of us who have been on this path for a long time, we can all attest. Shit. The closer you get, the harder the tests become. That's how it works. And so we just have to help each other keep the faith and realize that although it's going to be bad, in the end, it will be worth it. You know, what I've dealt with has been bad. Do you think that it would have been easier just to go live my life? You know? Do you know how much I made on my books last year? A whopping a little over $300 in a year. That's what I made on my books. So it's we are just called to keep going. No matter what. No matter what. And these child traffickers, this group is so focused on me. They wake up. They can't, if it goes for a few days. That's what they wanted. They want me to post videos because they miss me. They want to watch me when they go to bed. You know? The fact that they are so obsessed with me, and it is not like my life is not, I have shit going on that's just life shit. You know, it's not like any of us have it easy. And my birthday is going to be here in a matter of a couple weeks. This is an awful time for me. It is an awful time for me. It always has been my whole life. At least no one's murdering children on my behalf anymore. That's the saving grace of my birthdays. And so no one's murdering kids for me, at least that I'm involved with and have to, you know. My participation was I had to be there. And I was just a vessel anyway. So it wasn't even, you know, wasn't like It was a very complex situation. It is now. But I know spiritually we are at the end. We are at the end. Whatever is getting ready to happen is going to be so biblical in nature. There is no way. It cannot be a good thing that the polar ice caps or the North Pole is moving. They've never seen it happen before. That can't be a good thing. It can't be a good thing that the supervolcano in Italy is now waking up. That can't be a good thing. It can't be a good thing that the earth is tilted like 30 degrees tilted. I mean, actually tilted, and it's not supposed to be. That can't be a good thing, you know? And the reason why is because the groundwater is disappearing. That's what's happening. Water adds weight onto the planet, and now it's tilted. They are not in control. They think they are. They think now they have everything. But what good is all their money and all their power when the earth itself is completely fucked? And it's all gonna happen, and it's gonna be like a deck of cards. One thing is gonna go, and the rest are just gonna follow. Right. Terrible time of the year. So many rituals, so many traumas. Oh my God. Chris, my birthday just always sucks. This time of year always sucks. You know, Christmas. I just have to get through Christmas. By the time I get through Christmas, then I start to end up doing a life evaluation and where I want to go. And by the time of New Year's, at least I have hopefully some focus, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it works. So many rituals and trauma happened around the holidays. Yes. And my birthday's on the 6th. That was traumatic all in and of itself. Considering that my mom went into labor with me on Thanksgiving night. And so it is very overwhelming. That's the reason why I say we all have to help each other keep faith. It's what's getting ready to happen is going to be really terrible, but we're all here for a reason. I can't tell any of you why you're here, but I know my reason. And I've done what I'm supposed to do. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, you know? And I think that a lot of you out there that listen to this, because it's not just now, but people will listen to this later on. And I think that there are people out there who are hearing the truth in what I am saying. And we are all being called. And those of us who have spent our lives trying to walk the path can hear it. We can hear it. We know that something is expected of us. And it ain't going to be easy. And I'm just telling you, fill your hearts with love and try and help as many people around you do the same thing. Compassion, all the shit that they want us to not focus on is the very stuff we're going to need each other. We need each other now. We need each other now. And if your religion is compelling you to bring pain and hate to anyone, you need to question whether or not that's what you want to follow. It's thank you, Project. I'm here because I've listened to hundreds of people talk, but they're all caught up. And I can tell. You're telling the truth, and I can tell you by the response to you. The whole thing about it is, it's not about me. I'm just a foot soldier in all of this. I have followed and done what I was told to do. And because, yes, I've had a weird life, and I've had to do I've had some amazing things, and I've been involved with a lot of amazing things spiritually because heaven used me for heaven's behalf here, and that's what's happened. And but even then, on the other side, I am but a servant. I am just a servant, you know. But I'm happy to I'm happy to serve heaven. There is nothing better than serving heaven. There's nothing better. No matter not despite all the fucking trauma and bullshit, you know, all of the stuff of them coming into my house and breaking in and just all of that stuff. I'm going to take that off. All of that stuff is just despite everything, I just believe that it's worth it. I would rather stand up and take a beating for heaven than bend over and take it up the ass for the dark. That's just how I feel, you know? And so I'm going to stand. And as Cognitive was always saying, can't stop, won't stop. We're all here to support each other. We're all here to get through this. It's gonna get worse from here, people. Way worse. It's about time that we actually realize the compassion, the stuff that we're supposed to do for each other. You know? What you do to the least of you, you do unto me. And that's Red. Your love for people is apparent. Your kindness and generosity is heart is clear. Because I fundamentally believe the same way you do, Red. If given the chance and given the actual proper choice, people will gravitate to heaven. They'll gravitate away from the dark and go to heaven. But right now, unfortunately, people would call it jaded. I call it cynicism. I tell people that I am a pessimistic, I don't remember exactly what I used to say. A pessimistic optimist, that's it. I expect the worst, but I'm pleasantly surprised when it doesn't happen. The thing about it is that I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys appreciating me. But again, it's so not about me. And the things that I'm telling all of you are not things that are original. I'm not telling anybody anything that's original. You know, I'm just reminding us of what we've known all along, what we were told all along. And I'm just trying to do my part. And we're supposed to lead by example. And so it's not witchcraft, but the thing about it is that they do have weapons that they're using on people. They, again, davidshurter.com. If you come back after I get done with this, I will post this live video on my blog, and then I'll put the information, because I not only have the NBC News article, but I have the actual government paperwork talking about their directed energy weapons. And it's boots on the ground. They get meth heads, you know, to use it on people. And why they choose who they choose, I know why they chose me. But why they choose other people, who knows? And they're just evil, nasty motherfuckers. There doesn't have to be a reason. Because they're fucking just sociopaths. And if they're not sociopaths, they're sociopath wannabes. They wanna be sociopaths. Ultra low frequencies, targeting individuals. That's just it. And fucking, they make my life miserable. They break into my house and do stupid shit. So I know that they've been in my house, but there's nothing I can do. And even if I did, who am I going to tell? By cops? You know? You don't have to pay me for any money. I always am willing to take donations. I probably should say PayPal and Venmo. It's just D Shurter. That's that. I always take donations, but when it comes down to the information is free. They're never going to turn those weapons off. The thing about the weapons is keep moving. They're easier to deal with when you're active. If you can work out or just keep active, because you can deal with them if you don't focus on this shit. That's key to it. Yes, they're there. There's nothing you can do about it. Just go about your business. And sometimes it's a minute by minute, second by second, because it's so fucking loud. It feels like they've turned this shit up. I don't know and I don't know exactly where it's coming from, but my dogs have a hard time sleeping with me. They don't want to sleep by my head. None of them want to sleep by my head. They all sleep with their head at my feet or away from me. And they can cause brain fog. It causes brain fog because I can sleep, but I don't really rest. But I'm able to deal with that probably better than most because all of my life I've suffered from terrible nightmares. And so sleep has always been something that I've been able to deal, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with sleep. They do torture. Get out and about. If you can get out and away from stuff and away from technology, don't take your phone, don't do anything, and just go out and about, not in your car, all of that. That helps too, because they track us through our technology. That's what I figure. They can track us through our technology. And there's a lot of information out there. I will never build another Faraday cage. I tried out in Washington. I'll let him kill me before I do that. I'm not, personally, me, like I said, I will keep going just to spite them. And I'm not going to, I'm just, but get away, get to nature. Nature helps. But stay active. Stay active. When it gets to be really bad, do not lay down in bed and feel bad for yourself. Go for a walk. Do something active to get your brain away from focusing on it. It will help, I'm telling you. It's little shit like that. It's the only way to get through it. It is. And they're doing this to a lot of people. And I think they're doing it worldwide. I said that they were doing it to the president of Iran. A Dima job, something like that. I always forget his name just because it's an uncommon name. But I got a hold of every email address of every Iranian official I could possibly get and sent them all the same email. If you want, one of the good things to go to is Spence Everson, was a friend of mine, and if you go at the beginning of my YouTube, you will see that I did an interview with him. I think it was a 2 hour interview where we talked only about the directed energy weapons. And so John McAfee, there's information out there. There's videos out there. You know, do not surround yourself with fucking tinfoil. What happens when you put tinfoil in a microwave? Same fucking thing. Don't surround yourself. The CIA and the FBI are they're the ones behind it. The CIA are behind all of this bullshit right now. But the FBI helps them, you know, and local law enforcement. They have control of it. Everything. And they think they have it. They think in January when they take over, they think they have it all fucking wrapped up. And they have no idea what's before all of us. And so, but again, I will post this video. And when I post this video, I will put the information that I got, the NBC News article, and the government documentation of the directed energy weapons. And the fact that our media can't find that fucking information is suspect all in and of itself. Don't you think? You know, I'm a nobody, just average American, and got it. You know? And so this Havana syndrome, they talk about this Havana syndrome. Everybody who worked in those embassies was suffering from mass hysteria. Really? You know? Really? That doesn't even make sense. But I rarely talk to people, and it's for a myriad of reasons. And I don't mean to be a dickhead, but it's for my safety and for the people who want to talk to me safety. You don't understand how on top of me these people are. You have no idea. And the people who are actually in my life are aware of it and have it in mind as well. That's the sad part about it is that after Owen, it's dangerous to be around me, you know, because they come at me all the time, but they seem to fail all the time. And so they go after the people that I care about and threaten my dogs. And now that I know that Andy is Doug, when I think the dynamics of what happened with Owen can't shift, they shift every time. They shift every time. And the fact that there's that connection pisses me off in a way that I cannot even begin to describe to people. I cannot even begin to describe. It pisses me off. And that's all I can say about it. I'm just... And again, had they not bragged about it and danced around and taken responsibility for it at the time, now they want to deny it, but at the time, I would have never figured it out. I would have just thought, shit happens, life happens. We're all getting older. He was older than I was. Obviously, he was, you know, my brother-in-law. And so, if you want, I mean, the reason why I don't make a lot of money on my book is because if you want to know the skinny and really get into detail, I suggest you just go to my blog, davidshurter.com. In the pages above, it says the extended version of Rabbit Hole, and go in there. Make sure that you hit the right link, because they broke into my blog and rewrote that book. And then I found out about it. So I have the link for both links, what they wrote and what actually was written, what actual rabbit hole was edited off of. And, but go in and read that. I think it'll help. If you're an MK Ultra survivor, you want to read that one. The rabbit hole is great if you want, to have the abridged version of what happened in Omaha. It's out there. There's all kinds of stuff out there. You can find stuff out there. And look into a group called Targeted Individuals. Yes, the CIA has sent its own plants out there of people saying the most outrageous, ridiculously stupid shit. But there are people out there who are actually legitimate survivors who obviously are just normal people that they're using this bullshit on. This bullshit that they said they were going to use on us. Let me just point that out. They did say they were going to use this shit on us. So to say that, I'm just pointing out that they're just following through on what they already said they were going to do. You know? With that said, I'm going to get off here because I don't know. I'll try to do this at least on Sundays. If I can get one in, if I can get one done on Wednesday. It's just lately I've had stuff going on, and it's my birthday. That always sucks. Birthdays always suck. I just try to get through this time as best as I can. My birthday and then Christmas. Christmas always really sucks. So I do need a peaceful day. I do need a peaceful day. But alas, again, anybody who wants a book, I do sell books. I sell them for $30. I sign them. Let me know where I'm sending it and then who I'm inscribing it to. It's $30. PayPal, Venmo, again, is just Shurter. Let me know that it's not a donation, that you're actually buying a book. There could be a myriad of reasons. But if you're an MK Ultra survivor and you went through what you went through as a kid, that's why they're doing it. That's the first and foremost guess. Because we never get out of the shit. We never get out of the shit. They never really let anybody go. And you either have to kiss their ass and join their group or fight them. Or they murder you. And generally they try to murder, if you don't join their group, they like to murder people. But I don't know if it's the training or if it's the rituals. I have a feeling a lot of it is God. But a lot of us that are actually on the path and one of heaven's warriors, and there's a lot of us out here, we seem to be, their shit can drive you crazy. It can make you feel bad and whatever, but it doesn't bring you down. It doesn't bring us down. And that's the reason why, is that you're trained and yet you rebel against them. You didn't do anything bad. They saw something in you that they want. You have a gift that they want to exploit. Safari Escocia browser, ESCOCIA CIA browser. Safari. I spelled that out because I'm going to look into that, but I won't never remember it. But I watch these. It's the reason why I'm only going to go for about another 5 minutes. I'm being bothered as it is. Everyone is here to say that they want some attentions. No, I don't want you to buy that. So, as much as I hate to do it, I'm going to actually bring this to a close. If you're chosen and special, for me, it ended up being that I was a servant to heaven. And I do feel special, but I'm still just a servant. And that's okay. I'm glad about being a servant. But if you believe that there is something you are supposed to do, then I figure out, if I were you, I would figure out what that is. And only you can figure it out. No one's going to be able to help you figure it out. That's something that you have to go inside of yourself and ask, to be shown. If you feel like you are special, and in our own way, all of us are. But there are some of us who are, I guess some would call it a destiny. We feel like there is something we are supposed to do. I have felt that way all of my life. And just realize that when you go to heaven and you ask, heaven oftentimes is on a need-to-know basis. So you get told to do stuff, and then you have to do it, not knowing why. Just trusting in the faith. Faith is being sure of what you hope for and certain of what you do not see. But being an MK Ultra survivor, I suggest that you go and read Confessions of an Antichrist, which is the extended version of Rabbit Hole. Because the spiritual stuff is a lot of what we were taught, or at least what I was taught in the MK Ultra stuff. And if you're a guy, I would be willing to bet that yours was not exactly like mine. I mean, obviously, they weren't raising you to be the vessel for the Antichrist and killing kids while they're pledging their souls to you. That was kind of my place in this. However, there is some gift that you have that you need to figure out and trust enough in it to actually be able to use it to your advantage and to heaven's advantage. Well, playing satanic is not going to help you in the end. Focusing on the dark and promoting the dark is going to fuck you. And as a survivor, the shit part about it is that you'll gravitate to the evil shit. You have to fight against that. We gravitate to what we know. That's how it works. We gravitate to what we know. And unfortunately, the way we grew up, what we gravitate to is not necessarily the things that we should be gravitating to. That's the reason why awareness and self-awareness and introspection, if you don't have those tools yet, you need to develop those tools. Introspection and self-reflection. Because when you're trained, some of the stuff you're doing and you don't realize you're doing it because we were trained to do it. And what we were trained to do they never had it for good purposes. That's just what I'm saying. Well, perhaps. Okay, with that said, I got to get off here. I'm being compelled, and heaven, we come to you as your children. Help us, compel us to do the right thing, fill our hearts with love, support all those that we possibly can, even if it does not serve our own self interest. We are going into dark times, the times of sorrows. Some of us are going to get lost. Help us not to get lost, if possible. And we say these things lovingly in our brother and your son's name, Jesus Christ. When? That's it. Yeah. Okay. Well, Satan, there are no more fallen. There are no more fallen. That's all I'm saying. It's the reason why all this shit's going to get down. There are no more fallen. Fill your heart with love and be as compassionate and loving as much as you possibly can. Period. That's what you need to contend with. All the other stuff is just going to get you in the frickin' dark. And you don't want to get in the dark. But if you end up in the dark, you're going to be stuck in the dark. There's no getting out of it. Fill your heart with love. Self-interest, self-reflection, introspection. You know, fill your heart with love. At this moment in time, it is a choice, a conscious choice we all have to make sometimes on a second by second basis. Well, follow the teachings of Christ. Okay, well, that's it for today. Thanks, guys. Love one another. Compassion. That doesn't mean the whole realize I won't leave the country. Where are you going to run? Where are you going to run? The poles switch. The North Pole is moving in a way they've never seen before. The Earth is tilted. A supervolcano is waking up. Where are you going to run? How do you run from God? Where do you go to run and hide from God? It's time to focus on ourselves. Fill your hearts with love. Get that energy going, or you're not going to ascend. And you're not going to like the consequences otherwise. And it's not well, if you feel like it, you're either going to do it and ascend, or you're not going to do it and you're going to get claimed. That's how it works. And so you can tell yourself whatever bullshit you need to tell yourself to dismiss that, but your ignorance ain't gonna fucking save you. That's all I'm gonna say to that. So with that said, I am getting off of here. Fill your heart with love as much as you can, or don't. It's each of our personal choices, as always. That's what free will is all about. But there's consequences to the choices we make.